Okay, it's okay. Good morning, everyone. It's 9:02. Welcome to the November 8th, 2023 meeting of the Bricktown Urban Design Committee. My name is Ophelia Cancio, and I'm the chair of this committee. When called on, applicants and speakers will come forward to the front podium to speak. Only one person at a time should come to the podium. Please speak into the microphone, identify yourself, and provide your address for the record when you begin speaking. Address your comments to the committee. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Citizens may address the committee on agenda items by responding to chair's call for speakers during discussion on each item and signing the speaker's log on the podium. All comments must be relevant to the item being heard. The chair or presiding officer may, in his or her discretion, prohibit a person from addressing the committee and/or remove that person from the council chambers if that person commits any disorderly or disruptive behavior. Please refer to the meeting agenda for more information about these requirements. If you parked in the Sheridan Walker parking garage north of John Rex Elementary School or in the Arts District parking garage just south of City Hall, staff can provide you with a parking validation ticket. The agenda and documents are located on the okc.primegov.com portal. You would select the Bricktown Urban Design Committee meeting. Once you're there, you would then click on the agenda item and the related documents will come up below the item. Keith, will you please call the roll?
Cancio.
Present.
Wall.
Present.
Egan. McCown.
Present.
Scaramucci.
Present.
We have quorum.
Thank you, Keith. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the October 11th meeting. Can I get
I'll motion to approve. Second.
McCown, your vote, please.
You just voted. Logged in and
Do I need to hit?
you could just do a voice vote.
do
Yes.
you want to do a voice vote?
So sorry, yes. There you go.
The motion passes. Okay, third item are cases withdrawn. There are none. Continuance requests, there are none. Consent docket, there are none. Cases for individual consideration. Michael, could you please tell us about that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item is returning to us from the last meeting on October 25th. You may recall that this project was approved by the committee with a condition of approval that they add half-height screening to the north elevation of the structure on decks 2 through 5. Part of the issue was that the report had not anticipated that there would not be any screening, and therefore the report did not include any reference to a variance from that standard or include any indication that the committee would be making a recommendation to the Board of Adjustment on the variance request. So what we have before us today is that they're returning for request to revise that approval to eliminate the condition of approval that requires a screening on the north elevation and to request a variance to allow them to not have that screening on the north elevation. We've prepared a staff report that goes through the same review and analysis of the views from Northeast 2nd Street south towards this proposed structure. And as we've stated in the staff report, we still believe at staff level that there are going to be at least a couple places from 2nd Street where the north elevation would be visible from the street. And for that reason, we are maintaining a recommendation that the screening be provided and the variance be denied. However, we have also, based on the comments that were provided by the committee at the last meeting, there was an indication in a lot of the comments that were made that the committee felt that perhaps it wasn't necessary to screen that elevation. And so we've offered the committee an alternative recommendation that allows you to recommend approval of the project with the deletion of the screening, and also to go on ahead and provide a recommendation of approval of the variance request to the Board of Adjustment. So you have a buffet of of recommendations to choose from today, and we're prepared to respond to any questions that the committee may have.
So I believe in the last meeting, the people that were here in the committee, we liked the way the elevation looked and didn't think that a screening was necessary, even though you could see. But we were kind of had our hands tied behind our backs. But are there any comments from the committee?
Test. Okay, there we go. One of my favorite parking garages in Fort Worth, Texas is just a simple parking deck with cable railing, and you can see all of the cars. It looks like a magical sculpture that changes throughout the day. There is a very famous modernist sculpture called Long-Term Parking, if you do a Google search, where the artist, the sculptor, had taken cars and then cast concrete, and they're all stacked up. And that parking garage always reminds me of this piece of modern art. One view on this could certainly be that a parking garage, form follows function, and looking like a parking garage, it tells us something about, what's happening there, the vibrancy, the availability of parking, are there spaces available, et cetera. Is it an opportunity for an underutilized parking garage? Could we build a tiny home village on top of it? Blah, 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 right? I mean, if it's screened and it's masquerading as an office building, then we don't know what it is, and we don't necessarily know how to interact with it. So I think there's a very valid philosophical reason to let a parking garage be unscreened, or to have a screen that is a kind of transparency that it could allow us to see what's going on within the garage. I'm certainly involved in property that will be looking at the north elevation, and seeing the coming and going of a parking garage can be fun, entertaining. It's a little bit like watching people. My dentist, he's got offices. I've sat in the dentist chair where you're looking out and you'll be looking right into this parking garage. So property just next door. I almost think it adds more interest than less to not require it to be screened on the north side. I know that's a contrarian view, but I just felt like I had to share it.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that. It tells a story throughout the day. It's parking. So I think, are there any additional comments on this? I think in the last committee, we wanted to send the applicant to do a variance, but we couldn't, or they chose not to. So is that, just have any other additional comments on that right now?
Yeah, and just, I think at the last meeting, the general sense that the committee left with was that there was support for not having the screening, there was support for a variance, but that because we hadn't noticed for the variance, we couldn't approve it that way. So in order to get their project moving forward, we approved it with the requirement for the screening and the instruction to the applicant to come back, to turn right around and come back and apply for a revision and for the variance. So
It was solely because the element of public notice to applying for the variance. Okay, so that's why we're back here.
So what do we need to exactly do? I
So
have
we
no
can-
problem with this.
yeah, so if the committee wants to approve it without the screening and with the variance, then you would make I think the second motion in the staff report. You have two
Six.
options in the staff report.
Page 6 of the staff report. It's on page 6 of the staff report.
So it would be a motion to approve and a recommendation of approval to Board of Adjustment. Oh, it's the first one, sorry.
Yeah, for 1A. Okay, so I will make a motion to, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application on the basis that it meets the regulations and guidelines of the Bricktown Core Development District zoning ordinance as referenced in section C and D of the staff report, with the condition that the applicant shall obtain a variance from the Board of Adjustment from the requirement to screen parked vehicles in a parking structure from the canal and street level.
And I would second that.
Solves the problem.
And then we would need a second motion to provide a recommendation to the Board of Adjustment.
I would make that second.
And I would second Avis's.
Second.
And that's, just to clarify, that's staff recommendation 2 to provide a recommendation of approval to Board of Adjustment.
Okay.
Yep. And cast your votes. Okay, motion passes. Both of the motions pass.
Okay.
Well, we
I
should
think that
probably,
comes at the end, right? Comments from,
we don't actually have comments from the public on these agendas. Yep, we probably should confirm that this gentleman wasn't here to speak on this item now that we've taken action on it. Sir, did you want to speak on this item? I'm here with AEG. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry about that. So thank you. The next item on our agenda is to elect officers. We need to elect a chair and a vice chair. So do we have anyone that would like to recommend someone to be the chair?
You've done a great job, and because we haven't met very much, you really haven't gotten to have a full year's term. So if you would be willing to continue in your role as chair, I don't know if we have to switch seats, but
I don't think it's mandatory, no.
okay.
You don't have to, but
It's
you
been a
can.
learning progress for me, so yeah, I would gladly accept it.
Okay, so it sounds like that's a motion from Richard to nominate Ophelia for chair. So we need a second
Second.
and then a vote.
Can-
I would second that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So the next item, we need to elect also a vice chair.
I'm embarrassed
trying to
ask
kick me
this,
out.
but who's our current vice chair?
It's me.
The
Brent
same
also has
logic.
not
The
had
same logic
applies.
applies. I believe we've met 3 times this year. So if this parking garage sparks enough development that necessitates us meeting 9 times next year,
Yeah.
then we could call for a special election and get y'all off the hook early if you want. That would be,
Get that
I mean,
same-
I'm not trying to make a complicated motion, I'm just trying to say, you know,
I mean, they have sent me several emails trying to kick me out of here. So is that okay if I'm still here? I think I'm here like at Michael's pleasure at this point.
Oh, yeah, I think
That turns-
several of you are serving until you're replaced
Right,
at this
yeah.
point. You're technically past your
Okay.
expiration.
All right.
We're
That's okay.
technically
Not the only one,
expired,
okay.
I believe.
Would he be able to serve as vice chair until then?
Okay,
Okay. If he would like to.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
As long as you show up every meeting.
I'm going to go ahead and.
All one meeting. Okay. So yeah, if you can cast, it looks like we have a moved by Richard, second by Kasha. You can cast your vote. Great. Thank you. Congratulations, Brent. Next item on our agenda is administrative approval report. There are none. Any comments from planning department staff? No comments. Comments from committee members?
I'll ask, since we have two members that weren't here last month, we are still planning to meet in December. Can you give a brief synopsis or have a discussion for what we're going to see next month?
We have a existing structure at 108 East California. It's immediately west of the miniature golf course. The proposal that we had before us at the last meeting was kind of a double-pronged attack, which was one, leave the existing building intact for those 3 floors, the basement level and the 2 above grade, and then add on to it above to 8 floors total from the canal level to the top. And the other option was to demolish and just start from the ground up. And right before, a week before the meeting, we received a engineering report on the structure that's there right now, and there's a lot of issues. So when you see it come back in December, it will be a proposal to demolish that building and to start from the ground up. The project had a lot of interesting architectural features and some other things that I don't think anybody's ever seen here before, like a see-through pool that cantilevers out over the canal. There are lots of moving parts to this project. One of them is that there's, on the 4th floor plan of this proposed building, there's an opening into the Kingman building to attach to the 4th floor of the Kingman building and make the 4th floor part of a banquet facility or a event center that's attached to the hotel. We're still trying to figure out whether we can or can't approve that without some authorization from the owner of the building next door. On the north side, we have the pool extending out over the canal. We also have a roof with a big wingding extension that goes probably 10 to 12 feet out from the south of the building over the canal. At the south end, we also have issues with respect to that same roof because it extends out over Wanda Jackson Way even further, like 16 feet, I think. And then at the meeting the last time, the roof also extended 4 feet east and west of the building. That's changed. That's been eliminated. He's brought the sides of the roofs back together, so it's flush with the east and west walls. We just got revised plans in basically yesterday, and we haven't had a chance to go through them in a lot of detail. They have tried to address some of the comments that the committee had at the last meeting. We don't think that they, at least in my first blush review of those plans, I don't necessarily think that they've gone as far as they need to go, and we'll address that in the staff report when it comes to you next month. So,
yeah, that one was continued in October to the December meeting with a number of kind of comments and directions to the applicant on revisions to be made. I will say we probably shouldn't discuss it. We don't need any discussion from you all because that wasn't on the agenda and it's an open case, so we shouldn't go any further than Michael's summary at this point. But for those who weren't there, it's probably very helpful to go back and watch that meeting so you can hear the discussion that already took place, and then we'll, of course, recap all of that in the December staff report.
for those of you who weren't here in October, if you want to go back and look at that report, familiarize yourself with the issues we laid out at that meeting. A lot of them are going to be the same as what you see in December, so.
Is there like an easy link to?
Yeah, we can send you guys instructions on how to find the October meeting and all the
Okay,
attachments.
that would be helpful.
It'll be on YouTube and then the meetings in the Prime Gov. And actually, if you stay a minute after the meeting, I can show you in there how to get to it.
Thank you. Any other comments right at the moment, not related to that item?
It's exciting that things are happening in Bricktown.
Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, so our next committee meeting will be Wednesday, December the 13th. And as we discussed, there's an item that we will be discussing, so we do plan on meeting that day. Meeting is adjourned at 9:23. Thank you all.
Thank you.